Good evening, my fellow Onward fans. It's your old friend Theta, your resident spice merchant. And tonight, for Friday Night Fights, we have a spicy little exchange between Murphy's Maniacs and WCO. I want to say as well, we got Nightfire controlling the cams, the man in the van, as they say in sports broadcasting. So thank you to that ahead of time. Let's talk a little bit about the match that we're about to see, starting with the bans. First of all, the Maniacs have banned Downfall. And secondly, WCO has banned Cargo. And on top of that, we are going to be starting in Bazaar. Also worth noting, no smokes or C4, which seems to be the norm now, although I've seen a few bronze teams say we'll play with smokes and C4. For the most part, the whole league is playing without them, so nothing unusual there. Just discussing the bans a little bit. Looks like the Maniacs are banning from Weakness. They have a 20% win rate on Downfall. Not quite sure what the thinking is with WCO because they haven't played Cargo as far as the stats are concerned. I don't see any rounds on Cargo. So maybe they've just been scrimming and realized that's not a good map for them. I'm not sure. And I will say both of these teams are new. They're both learning. So there will be lots of quality educational moments for anybody who is new to the league and wants to see what it's like to play competitively on the big stage on cast. Before getting into it, just want to say thank you to the sponsors for the VRML. And those sponsors are ProTube, VR Cover, B Haptics, Rebuff Reality, Cyber Shoes, Arma, VRware, Asterion, and Fixed Gaming. We actually just picked up Asterion too. If you guys need some cool mounts or grips for your VR gear, I recommend them. Some pretty cool stuff. So we're going to jump back into a quick intermission because everybody is in lobby, but we will be back shortly. Actually, it appears everybody is in right now, so let's just go ahead and skip that. I'm going to send a message to the captains, and we should be launching. Let's check out the first objective we're going to be doing, which is the Split Street objective. One of my all-time favorites. I've talked about this on other casts before, but one of the most dynamic and interesting objectives on this map, in my opinion. And let's review the rosters as well while we're waiting. Excuse me. On Murphy's Maniac side, we have Murphy the Maniac, the team captain. We have Captain Catmint, SXSQ Chronic, Extreme Tracks, and Core Winky. On WCO, we have Lord Visceral, Codemeister 7, Identity Crisis VR, and Graphics 77, along with Rigo with 3 Gs. And with that, we are launching.
All right. Whoa.
A little bit of fire comes out from the defense. Not a big deal. They don't reveal anything with that. And let's take a look at these different setups. It appears we are going to get a more westerly approach, which makes sense. That's where they've spawned, northwest. Although one person, it looks like Captain Catmint, is going all the way north, heading east. Ooh, and Codemeister gets Chronic
down
right away. Does not finish, though. So Murphy may be able to get this res. The laser is right on that position, though. There you go. There's the res. Murphy the Maniac gets Chronic up. Pretty standard defense as far as I can tell. One in the far east, but otherwise clustered around the objective. Not terribly unusual as far as I can see so far. Extreme Tracks and Murphy the Maniac watching from the west approach. Extreme Tracks. Oh, Codemeister takes out Murphy as she was peeking from the west side of the map. Captain Catmint rushes across right in front of Graphics and Lord Visceral. Well, this is going to get ugly real fast if he peeks at the wrong time. Oh, and graphic spots Captain Catmint underneath the red truck. Surprisingly does not finish, though. Depends on if Captain Catmint stays quiet or not. Otherwise, they are likely to put one in him pretty quick. Oh, he's giving call-outs. Yeah, it looks like Graphics comes back, looking for the confirm, and there it goes. Codemeister gets Chronic as well, so now it is all up to Core Winky, coming from the east side. Let's just ride along behind him, see what he sees. WCO 5 squad up right now. Oh, and he gets spotted by Graphics as he tries to rotate. WCO takes that commandingly, all 5 up. Yeah, I think they got a little discombobulated on offense there because they were spotted fairly early and lost somebody. And I've talked about this many times. The mental game is so important. If you get tilted early on, you see your attack start to fall apart. It can be very hard to recover. It seemed like that might have happened on that round. But it is only the first round of the game. And even though I would never recommend anybody consider rounds worthy of tossing, sometimes it's okay to lose a round, come back stronger, and still take the map. This is an interesting pick on the part of Murphy's, and that may, in fact, play into this. Because if it's your map pick, you're generally doing that, feeling confident on that map, and to lose the first round with 5 up, it takes some strong psychology to deal with a situation like that. And it's always impressive to see bronze teams come back from a situation similar to that. I do not know if that will happen here, but we'll see. Okay, we're getting into it. And mirror spawn here.
Indeed.
It is a northwest spawn for WCO. Sounds like a little bit of confusion on the WCO side. People aren't quite sure where they're supposed to go. But now it seems to have normalized. Rigo and Identity Crisis right on Kiat. And Codemeister, Lord Visceral, and Graphics in a more westerly tint. It's interesting. The Maniacs have Core Winky way off objective in the east. This is a little dangerous because if they push in hard through the middle, Core Winky may be too far off to do anything about it. Graphics is coming around the corner from the west. And he has not been detected yet, as far as I can tell. Oh, never mind. And Graphics attempts to give a call out. I don't know if Lord Visceral really understood what was going on there, but he decides to throw a grenade. Oh, actually. Oh, Captain Catmint drops that grenade right at Lord Visceral's feet. Nice toss. Needs to be confirmed. It looks like Extreme Tracks may try that out. He's sort of peeking that corner, but no, I don't think that's happening quite yet. And Codemeister is looking for Murphy in that. Oh, and he catches her right as she peeks. Some unfortunate timing for Murphy. And now we have a 3.5 versus 4. I don't think Lord Visceral is going to get rezzed at this point. He's so far away from everybody else, and they all seem to have rotated more to an easterly direction here. Identity Crisis right across the street from the objective. There isn't anybody now that Murphy has gone down to spot him. Could potentially run across the street and go up and over. It's a very popular move amongst vet teams. I don't know if he's feeling that bold, but we shall see. Korwinki rotates back to the objective. Smart move, in my opinion, considering how far off he was to begin with. So now they have the objective a little more locked down than it was before, although Korwinki is now, as I've said that, running away from the objective. So it looks like Codemeister will get the revive on Lord Visceral. I don't think there's going to be enough time for a bleed out. And there it is. The revive comes out from Codemeister onto Lord Visceral. It's now 4v4. Oh, Rigo is getting awfully close. I'm surprised that Chronic in the east has not spotted him yet. He might if he gets a little closer, but yeah, he and Identity Crisis are really getting into the objective area. Lord Visceral takes out Korwinki. There goes their east defense. 3v4 in favor of WCO. Rigo is getting real close. He's checking his code right now. And here he goes. He is running to the objective. Nobody has spotted him yet. If he could just get on the Hummer. Oh, he's capping. This is happening right behind Captain Catmint. Oh, man, he just needs to turn around. He will see it, but this cap is happening. The capping. Oh, and it goes out. WCO gets the cap right, literally, on the back of Captain Catmint. Brutal. WCO goes up 3-0. Once again, this is Murphy's map pick. So they have a big hill to climb here, both in terms of score and psychologically, because as I was mentioning earlier, when it's your map pick, you're picking because you feel confident about that map. And if the other team basically says, no, this is our map, well, that's not a great feeling, especially going into the next map, because they're going to pick whatever they're confident on. I'm checking the score now, and it looks like, not the scores, but the list of players, and it looks like there was a drop from Murphy's. I'm not sure when that happened, but yeah, if that happened in the middle of the round, that might have made a difference, because that was one less defender. Now that I think about it, that makes sense, because I thought they had more than one left. So that is a bummer. Hate to see that happen. Sort of reminds me of I think it was Aimless Gaming versus Animal House I was casting, where I want to say Nardu, I don't remember who exactly it was on Aimless, but they were in the middle of capping and got DC'd. And that just, man, that is the worst feeling in the world when you have a chance to win a round and you get DC'd. But that's just, unfortunately, the life of esports. And we're playing on computers over internet connections. These sorts of things happen. Well, we are now at the Kiat objective, which I think is universally hated by defenses everywhere. I think we can all agree it's just a pain in the neck to defend. But if you're on offense, as Murphy's is, I don't know how to phrase that right now, then you have an opportunity with this spicy objective to potentially come back. If they can get a cap here, they aren't tied, but they put themselves in a good position to tie it up and then play defense, although it will be on a challenging objective to play defense on, as I was just saying. And it looks like Tricky Silent is now in for Murphy's Maniacs. I believe he is a new pickup for them. I remember looking in the rosters channel a couple days ago. I think they just picked him up. So not sure if he was a DC or maybe he died and then they just said we're going to bring in somebody else. Not sure what happened, but either way, we do have a full roster on both sides now. So I imagine, yep, there it is. The countdown has begun. We're going into our first and maybe last, we'll see what happens, round on the Kiat objective.
Okay. Also, I'll be checking on the map. Yeah, I'll be checking on the map and put the last two alive, so that way we can just rush them.
Just rotate, yeah.
Guys, let me know. Far out there, remember.
I'm always interested, interested to see how these newer teams handle Kiat. Some teams get very aggressive on both offense and defense. Like, we're already seeing Chronic is across the street, or excuse me, not across the street, but in the blue room near objective. So he's already putting angles, putting lasers, I should say, on the objective. And it looks like they have set their defense up to watch the east primarily. That makes sense because there are 3 defenders, or excuse me, offensive players in the east. But they have sent a couple of non-east players. Korwinki takes out Codemeister in the north.
1 second floor.
Captain Catmint putting shots into the market. Graphics takes out Murphy.
1 down northwest, courtyard.
All right, we are at a 4v4. Rigo and Identity Crisis stacked in the east. 1 person in the west. Now, if Tricky Silent and Korwinki can make their way around, Lord Visceral downs Chronic and finishes him there. 3v4 in favor of WCO. As I was saying, if Tricky Silent and Korwinki can get around the north side, they have a chance because Lord Visceral is all by himself. That would open up a lot of opportunity for a cap. Sounds like Lord Visceral was calling out for more coverage. I don't know if anybody is going to make an adjustment, though. Korwinki throws a flash into the east market. This might work out. Korwinki could draw attention. Yeah, Identity Crisis and Rigo both looking into the east. Tricky Silent in the back of Kiat. Ooh, Tricky Silent takes out Lord Visceral. Okay, Graphics is on the opposite side of Kiat. But he could rush in there. He's taking his time, checking to see if anybody else is nearby. Rigo appears to be... Oh, never mind. I thought he was going to rotate. And Tricky Silent picks him up as he is out in the open. But Identity Crisis picks up Tricky Silent as he rotates. 2v1. Map on the line for Murphy's. Can Captain Catmint get the clutch? Graphics has a laser right on his position. Oh, wow, nice shot. Captain Catmint takes out Graphics. It's all up to Identity Crisis to secure the map for WCO. Captain Catmint sees him. Laser on him. Oh, and he just barely misses that shot. Identity Crisis with the clutch. WCO takes map 1. Ooh, that was very close at the end. I thought for sure that Murphy's was going to take that round. He took the first shots, but maybe the hitboxes around the door didn't do him any favors, something like that. Anyway, the Snake Charmer music is on, which means it's time for quarantine. let's talk about the first objective, which, let me go here. It is, okay, it is Vault Garage. This one is quite a bit different than it used to be, because there used to be an actual garage space right next to the objective, which meant if you didn't have somebody right on it, Overwatch was a little challenging, because they could run in, dive into a corner in the garage, and if you weren't right on them, they could cap before you did anything about it. By removing that garage space, it's now much easier to do some sort of Overwatch from a more remote position. Although you do have to watch the more north side of the objective, because somebody could be around the corner and still cap. But as long as you have south and north coverage on this objective, it is feasible to defend. It's not that challenging. And I'm looking at the rosters. It looks like we do not have any subs. I imagine everybody's just strategizing right now as we wait. Okay, here we go.
You know you have to do.
You know what?
WCO getting the crater spawn to begin with.
Oh god.
Sounds like Lord Visceral doing some quarterbacking. It's going to be a 3-2 split, 3 south, 2 north for the offense.
Do you want me to still go underground mall? Or you
Watching my map, it looks like it's going to be a 2-1-2 defense. 2 in the north, 1 in the middle, 2 in the south. Yeah, looks like a decent defensive setup. In my experience with this objective, it's very important to capture the impact building or crash building, whatever you'd like to call it, because from there you can just sort of swarm the objective. And it's very hard to cope with because there's multiple levels that you can shoot from.
Top floor of collision building, 5th floor collision building.
Rigo poking his way out of that hole in the north wall. This can be a little dicey if they place somebody on the white car or somewhere on the red ledge nearby. It's very hard to return fire onto those positions if you're just peeking out. You can't really see them until you're exposed. Let's see what everybody else is doing. Okay, graphics poking up from the Pit of Doom in Tank Courtyard. Tricky throws a grenade onto Lord Visceral. Does not find any purchase with it. Nice throw, just a little off. Oh, Lord Visceral primes a grenade. Throws it. Oh, it's just going to be short. Oh, Tricky pops out and gets him. And Chronic takes out Rigo in the north. Codemeister floating around the red ledge. Oh, Graphics takes out Tricky Silent. All right, we are down to a 3v4 in favor of Murphy's. Codemeister making his way past the red ledge. Not quite sure what to do. He keeps popping back and forth, back and forth. Chronic running up. Not sure what he's doing either. Let's check in the other side of the map. Graphics still making his way through Tank Courtyard from the Pit of Doom. Doesn't look like Korowinki has spotted him yet. Graphics has spotted him, though. He just had his laser right on his head.
At the hospital, first floor, first floor on the west corner,
Graphics has called out Korwinky. Although Identity Crisis is the only one nearby who can make use of that information. Chronic takes out Codemeister. Now all up to Graphics and Identity Crisis on WCO to salvage this round. Murphy directly on objective may spot Graphics here if she pops her head out from that hole in the fence. Korwinky will not have an angle until Graphics is out in the open. Oh, Murphy takes out Graphics after poking out of that hole. And it is all up to Identity Crisis on the tank. He primes a grenade. They are going to know where he is now. 4v1. They can sort of afford to encircle him now. 40 seconds left.
40 seconds, crash.
He's calling for a crash. I don't think he realizes he's alone. Korwinky spots him and, oh, misses him as he runs out in the open. Multiple lasers on his position. Oh, wow. Quite a gun battle there at the end. And Chronic finishes him off. Murphy's Maniacs get their first point of the game. Yeah, I think there was a little bit of a lack of time awareness there, which happens on the larger maps frequently. Nothing to feel too bad about. Even veteran teams run out of time or get close to it on this map. Looked like there might have been a little bit of miscommunication since Identity Crisis was calling out to his teammates even though he was alone, but also it can be hard to keep track of those gunshots, especially if you're running around in more open areas like he was. You don't necessarily want to stop and check your tablet all the time, so somewhat understandable. Do not have a mirror spawn this time. They have spawned in the north instead. Let's see. A little bit of drum sharing. Love to see that. A little generosity. Not that I know anything about that, since I take M249s, but hey, I like to see other people do it, right? Graphics running into the impact building. That's a good idea. It appears we've got a 3-2 split from the offense.
Copy.
Tricky Silent takes the first shots. Now the defense knows where they are. Oh, Murphy gets Codemeister.
Down in the 2-3.
And Graphics has adjusted his position to watch for any intrusions into the impact building. Oh, and he is about to see Catmint. Oh, man. Captain Catmint would have no reason to look where Graphics is. This is a pretty spicy little spot, but they run past each other. Wow. Now, maybe Chronic is coming around the corner now, and Graphics gets him. Murphy is just about to be in his line of sight, but she spots him first. Oh, what happened? Oh. I'm not sure if she ran out of ammo or if maybe there's a technical problem there, but Graphics ends up winning that exchange. And Murphy's has already lost 2 people to WCO's 1. So 3v4. About 3.5 minutes left. Graphics putting shots into that lower floor, but I don't think he sees anybody. Captain Catman takes out Rigo in the Volk Tower red ledge. Oh, and Lord Visceral team kills Identity Crisis, but doesn't finish him off. Korwinki downs graphics. Wow, this is evolving very quickly. And just like that, WCO down to 2 defenders. Captain Catmint is also quite close to the objective. Lord Visceral might spot him as he's running, although Captain Catmint sees him first. Identity Crisis gets him with the immediate refrag. But Identity Crisis is now on his own, once again calling out to dead teammates.
Just confirming.
And he realizes he's alone. I think we've all experienced that moment. Korwinki making his way up to the fuselage exit. And Tricky Silent on the nose. Identity Crisis looking more towards the west so far. Now, if Tricky Silent comes back from his position or pushes around the nose, he will see Identity Crisis. Oh, lasers right on each other. Oh, I don't know if he saw him. Meanwhile, Korwinki slowly moving his way up from the fuselage. And Identity Crisis is getting surrounded. And there it is. Tricky Silent gets the finishing kill. Nice encirclement by Murphy's Maniacs. Pushed through the impact building and just created problems for WCO from there. It looked like there was, again, a little bit of a disconnect on WCO's side, just communication-wise, with one player believing that there were others still up until it was a little too late. Well, now that we've gone to, gone through 2 rounds, I have a new objective. This time we are on the gas station garage. And this one still has the legacy garage. So if you do not have somebody right on objective, if you're just trying to watch, especially I've seen a couple of caps happen from hospital roof. Someone has Overwatch and an offensive player runs in, just goes into a corner where he can't be seen from the hospital roof, and it's game over from there. And that means it is critical to have defenders right on this objective pretty much at all times, or at least rotate as soon as the person that's down, the person that is on objective goes down. And let's take a look at the scores while we're waiting. Let's see, it looks like for WCO, Graphics is leading with 3 and 2, and on Murphy's side, Chronic with 3 and 1. Here we go. Round 3. Murphy's Maniacs WCO. Gas station garage objective. Oh, get ready for some spice, ladies and gentlemen, because Marsoc got quick spawn.
You're gonna sit in there.
3 south here, 2 can go through middle.
Okay, I'll go through middle.
Push hard and fast.
Okay.
Lord Visceral quarterbacking and calling for a hard and fast push through the south. And we already have lead flying through the air. And Chronic with a nice shot onto Lord Visceral.
I'm done.
That stops the southern offensive movement in its tracks. They now know that somebody has made it inside hospital. I can tell you from experience, that is a hard person to deal with, especially because it's so dark in there. Oh, a whole lot just happened. Let's see. Rigo gets Captain Catmint. Tricky Silent also goes down. Murphy's has 3.5 up, and WCO has 2.5 up. I don't think the revive is coming out for Rigo on WCO. Yeah, Murphy's about to get the revive, and they are going to double tap Rigo momentarily. Should make it into a 2v4. No, he thought he confirmed it, but he did not. That is unfortunate. See, guys, this is why with an LMG, I just throw like 30 or 40 rounds into the body, because why not? Identity Crisis looks like he's going to make his way to Rigo's body. The question is, will Captain Catmint see him first and take him out before he can do that? I imagine Rigo will have a clear visual on Captain Catmint. Oh, grenade comes out. Just a little too much spin on that bad boy. A little too much English on the grenade, as they might say in billiards. Oh, and Chronic is about to get... Ah, there it is. Gets Codemeister. Captain Catmint finishes Rigo. Not sure if he heard him or not, but just said, you know what? I'm going to just put a few more rounds into that body, and it pays off. And once again, it is Identity Crisis against 4 on defense. I think it's the exact same setup he had last round, too, as 1v4. It's never fun. I tell you from experience. It's not enjoyable. I would guess that he knew those shots. Yeah, he's putting shots onto middle burning now. I would suspect he saw that confirm, or at least heard it. But Chronic has his laser. Yeah, that's going to be over quickly. And Chronic finishes the round by killing Identity Crisis in Tank Courtyard. Well, this is quite a game. We had a 4-0 for WCO on Bazaar, and Murphy's now on the cusp of a 4-0 on Quarantine. Exactly what I like to see for Friday night fights. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not personally looking to watch a blowout. Obviously, if you're a competitor, you want the blowout to happen, so especially in the first 2 maps, you can just sort of relax on the third one. But that's not happening tonight, I don't think. WCO could come back. It's not impossible. It's difficult, but not impossible. Murphy's needs to have a solid offensive round, and offense is the more challenging side on most maps, including Quarantine. A little sip of my Theta. My vocals oiled up a bit. Should be starting momentarily. And Chronic now with 6-1, still leading Murphy's Maniacs. And Graphics also still in the lead at 3-3 for WCO. Here we go. Round 4, Quarantine. We do not get a mirror spawn this time.
On the objective. Call out if you can see him in it.
Murphy handing out drums.
Not you, you're dead.
But they are going to be coming from the north this time.
Has to be the...
Not quite as exciting as the south of spawn in my experience, but still gives pretty spicy position because you can get up on that north roof and start looking down on the objective area pretty quick. Let's see what the spread is. 2 to the west, 2 to the east, and 1 tilted a little to the east, but more up the center near the roof.
Back here, there's a shield. There's a shield over here. He's literally behind these sandbags to our right.
And they have 1 person directly inside. Oh, Captain Catman gets graphics.
There's another shield player over here.
It's in the west.
Little crates over here in the opening.
Identity Crisis and Rigo have their lasers on the impact building, especially on the corner where both Captain Catman and Murphy are. Identity Crisis is going to spot them if they keep peeking like this.
Oh, there's somebody right there.
Yeah, Murphy just spotted Identity Crisis. Laser on the red ledge. Flash gets thrown, but nobody's there. There is so much tension by this impact building. A little surprised they aren't rotating into the building and getting a different angle since they were spotted. But it might pay off. Depends on who shoots first. I think Murphy's going to have an angle there. Yep.
Down.
So for anybody watching, just so you know, you can actually shoot through the red ledges. So if you suspect somebody is there, just shoot directly through it. You don't have to necessarily wait for them. Oh, and Codemeister with hell of a shot from across the map. Oof, and Rigo with a bolt-action sniper rifle takes out the other Maniac in the west. And the west push is officially dead. Tricky Silent still more towards the center. Chronic and Korowinki coming through on the south. I think Chronic and Codemeister are likely to have an encounter here. Yep, and there it is. Chronic takes Codemeister down. 3v2 in favor of Murphy's. Rigo is pretty far from objective. If Lord Visceral gets picked, which he might because Korowinki is looking right in that objective garage. If they take Lord Visceral down, this is a wide open cap. Frag comes out, doesn't find anybody from Lord Visceral. He's trapped now. He is trapped. Rigo looks like he's coming back. Yeah, he is moving more into a support position on objective now. It should buy them a little bit of insurance on the objective. It appears that it was... looks like there was a disconnect or something along those lines on Murphy's side. But still 2 up. Yeah, that is unfortunate. It was Korowinki. He is already back in the lobby, but Murphy's forced to do 2 instead of 3 on 2 now. Chronic on the hospital roof, but he has 47 seconds. Grenade. And Lord Visceral takes some pot shots around the corner. 38 seconds. Tricky Silent and Chronic need to get moving right now and make something happen. Tricky Silent puts some shots on Rigo. Rigo is rotating into the gas station. Chronic should have an angle on him. There it is. And it's all up to Lord Visceral. Tricky Silent could come in and cap around the corner. I don't know if they know that or not. But Tricky Silent could just cap right now. And Lord Visceral would not be able to do anything about it because the moment he rotates out, he's going to get shot. I think they're going to run out of time, though. Chronic rushing out. Tricky Silence running around the corner. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and it's over. Little too hesitant there. They did have a DC middle of the round, which is unfortunate. But, yeah, as we talked about before, really have to watch the time on this map, on any of the big maps. Downfall and Quarantine, I would say, are the ones you have to pay the most attention to. And especially, you know the last guy is in that garage, and you have a numerical advantage, or at least you think you do. Just push him. Just go for it. At the very least, you'll get the refrag on him. And the other alternative option there was Tricky Silent was coming around from the north side. You can cap around the corner. So even if you're directly inside that garage, you are not able to watch all of the angles that you can be capped on from. He is forced to pop out. And if he had popped out, he would have been shot from the roof. So you can put somebody in a situation where they just can't win. But that's why you get casted. So you can see things like that and say, all right, we're going to act differently next time. It's the beauty of playing a game where there's footage to review. And now it's 3-1. Murphy's playing defense on the north objective. This one is, in my opinion, a little easier to defend because there's so much open space near the objective. You don't really have to have somebody right on it unless you think someone's coming more from the east side and they're going to creep from the semi. But even then, you have to be in the open or directly behind that wall, north side, to cap. And it's pretty easy to watch, even from more remote positions. And we're getting a west spawn, or gas station spawn, whatever you'd like to call it, for Marsoc.
Going to be coming from the right side or from the left side
Right.
of southeast.
Okay. I'm gonna
So let's
go
all push up from the left.
Curious to see if they are going to be more aggressive on this round. Tricky Silent already making his way close to the impact building, and he is going into the impact building.
He just crossed.
He's about to run into 4 people if he keeps moving that direction. No, he is going to watch the east. So Korwinky, the only one in the west, facing 4 WCO players. If he peeks this corner, he is going to have a very bad round. And there it is. He has been spotted. Yeah, this hallway is a dicey spot because once you've been ID'd in there, you have no choice but to expose yourself, really.
He's still in there.
Yeah, they're just going to press him in here. It looks like he might make an escape there. Tricky Silent likely knows that there are people nearby. He is in a very good position to pull a flank on them because everybody is past him. I mean, if Tricky can get down to the base level of the impact building and just run up behind Graphics or Codemeister, he could put a serious dent in the offense. Meanwhile, Identity Crisis and Rigo still creeping through the west, but Korwinky rushing up. I don't know if Identity Crisis hurt him or not. Oh, yeah, no. He is watching the doorway now, so I would imagine he heard those footsteps since Korwinky was running. Korwinky, yeah, they heard him for sure. He keeps spinning around every time he hears those footsteps. Oh, Korwinky pops out and gets Codemeister. There is so much tension around this hallway. Identity Crisis is just going to spider crab his way to this doorway. And Tricky Silent takes out Graphics from the very top of the impact building. Oh, and Identity Crisis wins that exchange. And he knifes Korwinky to not fire off any more shots that could ID him to other defenders. It's all up to Oh, Rigo downs Captain Catmint with a
Behind the
bolt-action sniper rifle.
semi-truck. One behind the tank of semi-truck.
So I'd just like to point out that was a down from a bolt-action sniper rifle. So everybody that tells me bolt-action sniper rifles are better because of the one-shot kill, just remember this moment. And Murphy has rotated around. Identity Crisis still watching that hallway. Minute and a half to go. If the Maniacs just compress, they should be fine. They really need to take care of Rigo on that impact roof. And it's a powerful position, but you're also deeply exposed once they figure out where you are. He's taken multiple shots now, and nobody has ID'd him. Murphy, in particular, is in a good position. Rigo throws a flash. Not sure what that was going to accomplish, but either way, maybe he thought there was somebody below him or something. Identity Crisis gets right above Murphy, and Rigo goes down, so it's all up to Identity Crisis again. And Murphy spots him through the red ledge and finishes him off. Murphy's take map number 2. Now we get to see what Murphy's wants to play for the final map, for the tiebreaker. I can't wait, personally. This has been a great game so far. 4-0 for WCO on Bazaar, and 4-1 for Murphy's on Quarantine. And again, Downfall and Cargo are off the table. And we're going to Suburbia. One missing from Murphy's. I'm not sure if that was a DC or not. We will find out shortly. Maybe they're just still loading in. In the meantime, we are at the red car objective. In my opinion, one of the more challenging objectives on this map. Not as challenging as Middle House, but still challenging because there are multiple angles you can cap from. It's a little easier now because there's no smoke. The algorithm used to be just put smokes on the car, nobody will see you, and then cap from the opposite side. But can't do that anymore. Still, if you're not careful, if you're not watching towards that, what would this be? The south side of the car, you might run into problems. I've also seen situations where there's one lone defender on lane 1, and you can just kind of creep up from behind the car. Looks like it's taking a minute for the last Maniac to get in, so rather than have you guys wait and listen to me droning on forever, let's go into an intermission. And once we get this last player in, we will get right back into the action. Welcome back. Drop has been resolved, and we have a full 5 on both sides.
Sick.
I didn't hear.
What's that?
Map
Stop,
3.
destroy us all from
This is the deciding map if you're just joining us for whatever reason.
Go on to the right quickly.
This will be the tiebreaker. WCO took the first map, which was Bazaar, and Murphy's took the second, which was Quarantine.
Why is everybody going middle? I guess we're going to left.
Like a 3-2 split, 3 going up lane 1, and then 2 pushing more towards the 3 side. And Chronic and Captain Catmint just ID'd graphics. I think he was hot micing or something along those lines. Flash is thrown. Rigo watching lane 1. Murphy may get caught as she comes out into the open. Nope. Captain Catmint takes Rigo. Chronic shooting through the fence, hoping to catch graphics. Does not happen. Captain Catmint, oh, almost gets team killed by Murphy as he comes out of lane 2. And Lord Visceral catches him through the hedges. Actually surprised graphics didn't spot him first. Lots of LMG fire coming. Oh, Chronic gets the refrag right after Murphy goes down. 3v3. What a way to start this tiebreaker. Tricky Silent out in the open on lane 3. Codemeister really the only one in a position to punish him for that. He may very well do that. They're looking right at each other. There it is. Tricky Silent is down but not dead. Oh, and he gets finished. Okay, all up to Core, Winky, and Chronic on opposite sides of the map. Looks like Core Winky might have an angle on Codemeister. I think he heard or at least saw something.
Shit. Just cross behind you, just cross behind you. Watch your backside. He's on the
Chronic
backside.
has been ID'd by Identity Crisis. Core Winky heard him for sure, giving that call out. Wow. And Chronic takes out Lord Visceral. It's all down to Codemeister now. 2v1 in favor of Murphy's. Oh, I don't think Core Winky... Oh, he almost had him. Oh, if he had just pushed further on 4... he would have had his back and a almost certain kill, but instead he runs back and Codemeister shoots him. Oof. Well, they know where they are now. It's just going to be a gun battle. Who's got the grit to come out on top of this one? That is the question, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, what if Chronic pulls out a tablet right now? That would be something. Oh my god, if he caps right now, are you kidding me? Let's do this. Come on. Tablet out. He's doing it. He is capping. Yes. That took some backbone to pull that off. I thought for sure Codemeister would spot him and get him, but great job. Chronic with the cap right in front of Codemeister to get 2 points on this tiebreaker, and now Murphy's Maniacs in a great position because they will be on defense with 2 points on the board. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Red Car can be a very spicy objective, because you have this piece of obstruction right on the objective, and if you don't catch people running behind that, you are in a bad spot. Nice job, what was that, by Chronic, who is also leading the team with kills, so he is at 1 objective, 2 kills, 0 deaths. And Codemeister on the other side with 2-0 for WCO. But that complexity of capping could work in WCO's favor as well. They could come back and cap We shall see. Murphy's in a good position now. Here we go. Round 2. Red car objective on Suburbia.
Come on, don't ruin my streak.
You're not gonna kill us all just so you can stay away up, please.
Early shots coming out from Marsoc, and they said it doesn't matter on Suburbia. I just want to clarify for any new players watching, on that spawn it doesn't matter, but on the opposite side, not a great idea to pre-fire because it will give the defenders an opportunity to know which side you are slanted towards, and they can start encircling. Anyway, Identity Crisis catches Murphy the Maniac on lane 1, and we are only about 20 seconds in when that happened, and Murphy's is already down 1 defender. Good start for WCO. And Chronic and Graphics and Rigo, it looks like, are about to have a confrontation on lane 2. Rigo is just on the opposite side of the hedge, but Graphics is right in front of him. Korwinky also on the opposite side. There's actually potential for a team kill here if Korwinky pops out. Korwinky does not team kill, but and Codemeister on Captain Catmint, but Chronic and Graphics about to see each other. I think Graphics will get this first. Yep. 3v2 in favor of WCO. 3.5 minutes to go.
Watch out for lanes 3 and 4.
Lord Visceral has very strong angle down lane 4. And Tricky Silent on the opposite side of the street. Korowinki with a pistol confirm. And he takes out Lord Visceral. It's all down to Identity Crisis and Graphics. Graphics goes down from Tricky Silence, PKM. Oh, the irony of somebody with silent in their name using a PKM. I love it. Identity Crisis. Now, once again, man, this poor guy, he has been the last one up on multiple rounds throughout this match. This time, though, it is at least not a 1v4, as I believe it was at least once or twice on Quarantine. It is a 1v2, so he can even this up. If he can catch either Tricky Silent or Korwinky early, he can turn this into a 1v1 gun battle instead of potential encirclement. Two minutes. Just spider crabbing his way along lane 1 to the white car. He doesn't have to rush yet. Suburbia is a small... Ooh, shots coming from, I think, Tricky Silent. You know, maybe potential near team kill. Once he hits about the 1 minute mark, he's going to have to start running. Because you cannot spider crab your way all the way to the red car from here in that span of time. Okay, he's now behind all these houses and decides, you know what, I'm just going to get going right now. Which is arguably the right decision. potentially rush around here and just use Peeker's advantage against Tricky Silent, maybe. And then have a chance to pick off Core Winky if he tries to refrag. Or he can peek through and potentially catch Core Winky on the porch. Oh, he might just do that. He's looking. There it is. Okay, Identity Crisis versus Tricky Silent. This is a big point because this will put Murphy's up 3 if Tricky Silent can pull this off. Oh man, would it make my day if we had 2 caps on this objective? Please, Onward gods, give us this situation. Oh, and Tricky Silent spots him just as he comes out. So close. Truly, that could have gone either way. If Identity Crisis had popped that corner a little sooner, he had the angle on Tricky Silent. Tricky Silent was somewhat out in the open over there, but Tricky Silent had timing on his side and makes a nice shot onto Identity Crisis. And Murphy's Maniacs is now on the verge of taking this match with a commanding 4-0 if they win this round. And I'm just looking at the scores again. Pretty nice spread for the most part. Tricky Silent leading Murphy's with 3-1, although Chronic does have a cap at 2-1. And Codemeister with 3-1 for WCO. So I think that last round was just so close, and the cap came out, so the score does not really show what's been going on in this map. And in fact, that cap came from a 1v1, so not surprising we're seeing a quality spread on both sides of the ball, so to speak. And I almost forgot we have a new objective. It's the tank. So just like with the red car, this can be a challenging objective to defend, only because there are multiple angles with an obstruction where you can cap. The one I've seen many times and unfortunately been a part of on a few occasions is you have somebody in middle house or somewhere in that area, and a person comes from lane 4 and caps on the opposite side of the tank, and you have no idea what's going on. Or likewise, you have somebody in the front yard of the spawn house, and somebody creeps from the carport or something like that and caps from the other side of the tank. Anyway, free fire from a PKM from Lord Visceral down lane 3. Does not catch anybody. Defense taking a very aggressive posture this round. Although, interesting, they didn't place anybody on lane 4, and Tricky Silent is just out there by himself. He's pre-firing, but it's unnecessary. Rigo takes out Core Winky. Tricky has no way of... Oh, Captain Catmint gets Lord Visceral. Graphics takes out Chronic. Captain Catmint rushes Rigo. 3v3. Graphics takes out Murphy. 2v3. And Tricky doesn't know this, but if he just rushes now to the objective, he can get a cap. It is wide open from the lane 4 side. He's doing the right thing, being cautious, because he has no idea. I have the God's Eye view right now. But no one is watching Tank in a meaningful way. Identity Crisis is in the middle house, but he seems to be focused on whoever's below him. Well, never mind. Right as I say that, he pops out and sees Tricky Silent. And there goes the lane 4. And now it is just Captain Catmint in the middle house. He catches Graphics, 2v1. Map is on the line here for Murphy's. And the battle is in the middle house. Oh! Captain Catmint. That frag just misses him. 1v1 for the match point if Captain Catmint can pull this off. And Codemeister has taken a trophy LMG. So he knows that the last person is in middle house. Oh, and he sees him. Nice shot. WCO still in this. And it's great to see, even after a cap and a follow-on round loss, WCO is not giving up. They want this map. Now they have a chance, if they can cap on the tank, which is one of the more capable objectives, they can tie it up. And we will have a tiebreaker on the tiebreaker, so to speak. One more time looking at the scores. After that round, Captain Catmint was just doing work there. He is now leading the kills for Murphys at 5 and 3. And Codemeister, I believe, was the kill leader before. He is still the kill leader at 4 and 1. And that nice shot to finish off the round from lane 1. Here we go. What I'm curious to see is whether Murphy's decides to play this conservatively or not. Some teams in this situation will say, hey, we have some points to spare. Let's just get in their face and see if we can put them on tilt for this final round and finish them off. And a lot of teams will say, no, let's be conservative and just lock this win down. Graphics rushing into the middle house.
One down, one
Captain
down.
Catmint just runs right through him. WCO already down a person. We haven't hit the 30-second mark yet. That does not bode well. And Tricky Silent takes Rigo on lane 1. And have not hit a minute yet. And WCO down 2 players on what is potentially match point. And it looks like Murphy's decided we're going to play aggressively, and it is paying off in spades. So the question here is, Codemeister is about to have some visibility, and potentially Lord Visceral too, on the Chronic's position. I think, yeah, he sees Murphy. Oh, and downs Murphy. Nice shot. Codemeister is just hitting people in very awkward positions. Catmint gets Codemeister. Ooh, so it's now 2v4.5. Oh, and Lord Visceral survives. Oh, barely. Tricky Silent finishes that off. Let's see. Let me guess. Identity Crisis? Yes, it is Identity Crisis VR. All by himself. One more time. 1v4.5. And that's gonna seal the deal. Murphys take the match 4-1 on Suburbia. Wow. That was a crazy match. First map, WCO just dominated, and I was concerned Murphys would not be able to recover from that. We'd just see a blowout, but Murphys did not stop fighting. They came back on quarantine with a 4-0 of their own, and along with that spicy cap from Chronic, just owned Suburbia. That was a great job. I mean, a good fight on both teams. It really came down to the wire on a couple of rounds. But I have to say, I'm quite happy I picked this up. It's Friday Night Fights. You expect a high-quality match, and that is exactly what you guys got. So, you've been hearing me talk for a while. I won't bore you with any more ad hoc analysis. I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to all the players. It was a great game. Thank you to Nightfire for being the man in the van, as always. And thank you to our sponsors one more time. ProTube, VR Cover, B Haptics, Rebuff Reality, Cyber Shoes, Arma, VR Wear, Asterion, and Fixed Gaming. At that, I'm going to say this is Theta, your old pal and local spice merchant, signing off. Thanks, everybody.